We learn from Joseph Thompson's travels that when the Maasai of Central Africa get married, it is a native custom for the bridegroom to dress himself in women's clothes and to wear them for a month after the marriage. So the brother wasn't wearing women's clothes to be a transvestite or a transsexual or a homosexual. By him putting on the feminine garb, he was giving honor to the Great Mother, reconnecting himself back one with her. This is what we've done in ancient cultures in marriage. We wore the skirt. You'll find the skirt being worn all through Kemet, all through the ancient Americas, all through the Native Americans. They were honoring the Great Mother, the Great Feminine, the power that binded all things back to oneness. This is why it's important to have scholarship, because we've been living in a patriarchal system, and the ancient Africans, the ancient Moors, the ancient Egyptians, they all recognized the feminine. It's until these days in Western civilization, which is our civilization corrupted by the European, he has taken away the feminine realm or the feminine attribute and left the male there. But all in the African cultures and traditions from the pyramid universities of Kemet, you'll find that the feminine was recognized. The gods recognized the Great Mother. Okay. We'll continue on. It says he is assuming now, he is assuming the phase of parentage in the guise of the maternal type. So when he put it on the gown or the dress, he was only now assuming parentage and giving honor and homage to the Great Mother. Had nothing to do with homosexuality. Had nothing to do with these things. And we're going to find out later on these things. It says here, again, read this again. He is assuming the phase of parentage in the guise of the Great Mother and literally following suit to the female, because the maternal type and imagery of parentage are still dominant, and thus the father comes into existence, so to say, as a male mother. Let's go back to what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad stated, that the mother is 75% value of the child, and that the father is 25% value of the mother, not the child, but of the mother. What has changed? Our perception. Now we are now denying the female, especially the black woman, the Moorish woman, and now we have to put her in her rightful place as her sons. Because when you look at the word mother, H-E-R is on the last word, isn't it not? You look at the word father, H-E-R is on the last word, right? So the mother and father are one and the same. Except now the father has been given total supremacy over everything. Yet he comes from the mother. That's why we got to have a scholarship. We end all this confusion by studying, researching, and laying it down. It goes on to say the significance is the same as in the customs. The father was assuming the parentage in the likeness of both sexes. Now see, now the male today now has carried on all the attributes of the female. Well, she was first, now he said he was first. But yet he come from her. And we can show you all through embryology that all fetuses in the womb are originally female, and that the male comes later on. Both are united in one being. And we will prove all this later on in the upcoming discussions. It says here, thus Atum, or Osiris, because Atum, Ptah, all the gods that were pharaohs on the throne, they all represent Osiris. Osiris comes from another version of Bes. And beyond that Typhoonian tradition of Kemet, you have Sut Typhoon. So all the gods were patterned after Sut, who was the first great son of the mother. Thus Ptah or Atum or Osiris presents a form of the same duality as the Australian man with the vulva, who in his primitive ways was a twofold figure of the All One. Now this is coming from Gerald Massey. This is coming from Gerald Massey, who's showing now that all the male deities or gods represented the feminine. They had no problem recognizing the Great Mother. They knew they came from the Great Mother. Today, we find men wearing dresses, and we think they're gay, we think it's homosexual in this society, because we didn't study our ancient culture. When you study our ancient culture, or your ancient culture, you see that everything everyone has done, you did it already. But it's now twisted, it's perverted today. It's not being recognized in the way it should be. But we're bringing this back because we are the ancient ones returned to reteach and educate not just our people, but the whole world. The whole universe is waiting on us. All right, let's go to Sister Shuzar's book. Got to put our sister on here. The Great Black Mother of Creation. Now this is information, scholarship. You can go now and get yourselves. Research this. Do not argue with no one if you have no knowledge. You know, it's useless. It's useless to do that. You want to say disagree with someone, yet you can't prove or bring information to disagree with what we're saying or with what someone's saying. It's very foolish. She says on page 36, and men still wear her skirts. What men still wearing the Great Mother's skirts? Well, look at your judges. Still walking around with the guard, representing the Great Mother, the Great Feminine. Still walking around. Look at your popes. Look at your priests, still wearing the garb, the gowns, representing the Great Mother. And we're going to go into that, all that this evening. So she says, and men still wear her skirts. Skirted priests. Note that the high priests of religions around the world all wear gowns or skirts. Who are they honoring? The Great Mother. When you're graduating from high school and grammar school and college, they wear the same gown. Look at your pastors. They're wearing that robe. Recognizing the feminine in secret. But we're exposing it now. It's the feminine. It says this originated from the time when only women were the priest. So the original high priest was the Moorish women, known today as the black woman. Even the word priest has a feminine African origin. So you take all the words back, and you see it had, in its first inception, it had a feminine origin. And it still has a feminine origin today. They'll just change a word or add a letter to the word to make it masculine. But every language you find is feminine. It's feminine. It goes on to say here that males absurd women from their previous position. We read that earlier in the Quran. That males today absurded women from their previous positions of authority on all levels. Well, we read a little bit of that here. But retained the existing structures and icons originated by the black women, modifying them only if they were bluntly feminine. So what they did was they modified it. All that was feminine, they modified and they made it look masculine. They modified these things.